I'm gonna tell you why I actually stopped running my own Facebook ads for my business and why it was one of the best decisions ever. As a matter of fact, it kept us catapulting forward as a $1 million business. And I think this is a great strategy for other businesses that are trying to do the exact same thing. So I'm gonna share with you some of the things that helped us and how it could help you as well. So first of all, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer Waters. I am the Sales and Systems Sensei. Thanks very much for joining. I want to describe to you what happened. You see, back when I was 18 years old, my family's martial arts school was not doing so well. We weren't generating a lot of revenue. In fact, my father, who started the school many years ago, he was still running a full-time construction job. I was just graduating high school and I turned down a full ride to college in order to pursue my dream of growing this business. And in fact, over the next 4 to 5 years, we grew the business from barely turning over any revenue, $4,000 or $5,000 a month, to $1 million enterprise. Ever since then, we've kept it at $1 million. And so I want to share with you, with this particular business that we have, what we did and why I personally stopped running Facebook ads. So first of all, let me just say, paid ads definitely works. So if you're digging into this video and you're going, well, she just said she stopped running Facebook ads. I personally did stop running Facebook ads. Matter of fact, I would invite you to take this mindset and shift it for yourself as well, the same way that I did. You see, I originally was running Facebook ads personally myself. Matter of fact, I did this leading up to $1 million a year. I was running ads. I was spending a lot of time learning how to run ads. As a matter of fact, I took it to such a level that I bought courses, I studied online, I did all types of things to figure out the algorithm. Because ultimately, I was tired of agencies that didn't understand my business trying to run ads, and I wanted to know all the ins and outs about the ads and how to run them myself. But eventually, I capped out. And I think that this is important for entrepreneurs, for owners to understand. You're gonna get to a point, no matter what your business is, in my case, it was a martial arts business, so no matter what your business is, you're gonna get to a point where running ads yourself is going to cause inefficiencies in other areas of your business. I was spending hours a day trying to get my cost per lead lower so that we could generate more leads, instead of thinking about investing my time and investing my money into something that was gonna give me greater leverage and a greater return on my investment. And ultimately, that led me to stage 2. And stage 2 is where I decided to stop running ads myself and to start seeking out an agency that could take it on. Now, don't go yet, because I want to just tell you that ultimately what I found about the agency world led me to stage 3. So stick around here just for another moment. It happened to be martial arts. And so I was going to all the big players in the niche, and they were all promising me the moon, the stars, and everything else between. That the cost per lead would be lower, that I would be getting more leads in, and that ultimately all I needed to do was tell them what my budget was and they could help. And that right there was a mistake, because I was telling them random numbers. Ultimately, I didn't even understand what numbers mattered. And this led me to leaving thousands and thousands of dollars on the table, and also losing thousands of dollars by spending money that I had no idea what I was spending it for, or ultimately what my budget should be. It wasn't until years later that I really started diving into the actual cost of acquisition, and I started figuring out what the actual amount of leads was that I needed to convert over into paying customers, into paying students. Once I figured out that dynamic, then that led me to understand that I couldn't exceed a certain cost per lead. And then from there, that led me to understand that my budget needed to reflect the amount of cost per lead that I needed in order to make my acquisition cost profitable. So ultimately, it led me on a good journey. I truly am a firm believer of what the Bible says, that all things work together for good for those that are called according to his purpose. So for me in particular, this worked out really well, because even though I lost a lot of money, I gained a lot of experience and knowledge that I wouldn't have otherwise. And that led me to stage 3. I quit running Facebook ads with the digital agencies, and I actually hired in-house. Now, before you go out and you start hiring media buyers and building your own team, let me just tell you that unless you're wanting to run an agency, I would try to find a better agency to fit if you understand the cost of acquisition and if you understand how to run ads profitably based on your sales sales that you generate from leads. First, you need to understand that. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that I work with my personal clients is understanding how much money that they should be budgeting based off of how much profit they're getting from front-end sales, from new clients, new customers, new students coming in the door. Once they understand that, then you can scale your advertisements. If you don't understand that right now, the best fit for you probably is to have an agency running those ads and guessing at the results. When you get to that next point, you either need to hire a company like 7-Figure Dojo, where we help you understand that and we'll also run your ads for you, so it's a very transparent process, or you need to build out an in-house media team. Now, I will tell you that I did this personally for my own business, and then later when I started 7FD and we started working with other businesses and other clients around the world, I really just loaned out my team to them because my team is awesome. So when I brought media buyers in-house, I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't know how to hire them. I didn't really know what I was looking for, and I had no idea what I would gain from it. But what I did know is that I had a lot of experience working with team members. I mean, over the years inside of our brick and mortar business, I've had the opportunity to have 20 to 25 team members in that. And now with our online business, 7-Figure Dojo, we have 30 plus team members. So I know how to manage teams. I know how to hire people. I know what to look for on that side. What I didn't know was the technical ins and outs of every small detail of media buying. But what I also knew that helped me in the hiring process was I knew the nuts and bolts of what it looked like in order to run effective ads. I also knew copywriting inside and out because I'd been running and creating my own ads for years previous to this. And I also knew what would be the best offer in order to put out in front of a crowd to get the most amount of leads from online advertising. So I already knew all those things, which led me to finding my first media buyer, my first person to run ads. When I brought this person internally into my team, again, like I said, I wasn't sure how everything was going to turn out, but it actually was a really great decision for me. However, like I said, if I hadn't done all the hard work and spent all the hours and essentially learned how to run an agency for myself, I would have never brought someone in-house to run my own brick and mortars ads. I would have just stuck to finding a better agency, albeit probably outside of the martial arts niche, because I just didn't find anybody that could run ads and understood how I needed to make a profit on my sale. But what I did discover is once I did bring them internal, it was much easier to convey ideas. It was much easier to get those leads turned back around. Now, maybe that's not for you. Maybe you're not running a 7-figure brick and mortar business or a business that's on track and has a 7-figure run rate like our other online company, 7-Figure Dojo. Maybe you don't have two businesses that are $1 million businesses, and that's okay right now. For you in your stage of business, what I would implore you to do is to stop trying to run your own Facebook ads. Just quit running them and bring in somebody else that has expertise and knowledge to do that. You as an entrepreneur have so many other things that you should be focused on, mainly not just one channel of acquisition like ads. There are so many other methods and other ways that you can generate leads besides online ads. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are a business that's a brick and mortar business, the easiest way to get cold traffic, people that don't know about you, is online. But it's not the only way. In fact, I talk about 4 other ways and 4 other stages of growth in my next video. So it'll be linked up here or down in the description. So you're gonna wanna make sure you check that out, because you should never be married to only one channel of acquisition. That is a great way to have failure, especially when that channel of acquisition goes up in cost or is completely pulled out from underneath you. So listen, if you got a ton of value out of this video, do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel, make sure you throw a thumbs up in there as well, and I will see you guys on our next video.